Hey guys, welcome. If you're new here, thanks so much for joining me. My name's Roxanne and welcome to my channel. If you are not new, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate you clicking on the video. Okay.
I don't wanna know, no, who's taking you home, and loving you so. The way I used to love you, no, I don't wanna know, who's taking
Okay,
you home,
so I'm just gonna jump right in because I'm super excited about this dupe. I love finding drugstore dupes for high-end products. I think that it is amazing to find great makeup that you can use at a fraction of the cost. So if you guys are not familiar with the series that I do on my channel, so this is drugstore poop or high-end dupe. I do have a couple of other videos like this on my channel. I will go ahead and link that in a playlist down below. But today I wanted to go ahead and talk about another product that just came out that is super inexpensive, and I've actually found it to be a dupe for two other products. So if you guys are interested in hearing my thoughts on whether or not the new Wet n Wild Dewy Primer is a dupe for two high-end primers, then just keep watching. Okay, you guys, so the other day I was at the drugstore and I stumbled upon a couple of new items from Wet n Wild. I did pick them up. There was some new sprays, some new brushes, some new primers, and I am going to be doing a video using all Wet n Wild products, hopefully. I'm still trying to find some things, but today I wanted to talk to you guys about the Wet n Wild Dewy Photo Focus Primer. This is newer. I know it's been out for a little bit now, but I just picked it up yesterday and I'm so fascinated because I absolutely love illuminating primers. Most of the time I go matte, but there are certain times where I absolutely love finding the perfect illuminating dewy primer. So I opened this up and I thought it was going to be a white consistency or a white colored base primer, but lo and behold, it was sure as shit illuminating. So here is my comparison. Now normally I do a video where I have half of my face as the drugstore and half of my face as the high-end, but I didn't have time to do that this time and I was so excited to get this up. So I'm just going to give you my thoughts based on how they feel, because I did use them this morning, and then I'll kind of show you what they each look like. I don't know if that makes sense. I hope that made sense. Okay, so this is retailed at $4.99 and I was shocked because there is 0.84 fluid ounces, which is 25 mils, so it's not quite an ounce, but I love Wet n Wild. I love their products. I think that they are really stepping up their game, and the fact that they came out with a new primer, I know they already had a matte one. So first and foremost, I'm going to talk about the consistency, the color, things like that, and then I'll tell you guys about the lasting power. So this is what the Wet n Wild primer looks like when you first put it on your hand. It is very, I don't even know what this color is. It's almost like a peach, I don't know, it's a peach illuminator. So you guys can already see that there is a ton of dewiness to that, and sometimes it doesn't show up on camera, but the color, first off, is so similar to these other primers that I'm going to talk about, and you guys can even see my hand. Do you see that shine? That stays all day, that one. Now on this hand, I'm going to show you the high-end primers. So I found this to be a dupe for two different primers. The Marc Jacobs, I think this is the Do You Dewdrops Coconut Gel Highlighter. So this is not necessarily a primer, but it's very similar to the Dewy Primer by Wet n Wild. Now the one that I found that was more similar was the Backlight Priming Filter by Becca. So this one I'm gonna say is more of a dupe than this one because this one's considered a highlighter and it's a little stronger in the color, but definitely the Becca. So again, this one is my Wet n Wild, and then on this side I'll go ahead and put the Becca first and then the Marc Jacobs. So that there is the Becca, and then I'll put it next to that. Ooh, I use a little bit too much. And then that side is Marc Jacobs. So you can even see here in just this little bit that I'm showing you, the Becca's definitely closer. But let me just show you guys blended out. Okay, so that's the Becca primer. and that's the Wet n Wild. I mean, it's really hard to see on camera. Now, here's why they're not as similar to the Marc Jacobs. I'm going to show you, because the Marc Jacobs is a highlighter, okay? So that's the Marc Jacobs. Super gold, very, very pigmented. But here's the thing. 90% of the time, I would blend out the Marc Jacobs highlighter. Let me show you. So that it's not as gold, okay? So that's kind of what I would blend it out to. You could do that same thing with the Wet n Wild if you wanted to. If you wanted to use this, it's kind of like a dewy. Now, it's not going to be a highlighter like this, you know, using it wet or whatnot. But if you wanted to substitute the Marc Jacobs for the Wet n Wild, you're going to get the same illumination effect. It may not be as highlighty, but you're going to get the same effect. So that's kind of why I jumped that one in there, just to show you guys that alternative. But the true test that I tried was the Wet n Wild to the Becca. And I was like, you know what? I want to see if they have the same, I don't know, the same luminosity. So right now I'm wiping off the Marc Jacobs because I want to show you just with the Backlight Primer what the comparison is. So first of all, the consistency is right on. The color is right on. The formula is right on. And this is going to be really hard to show on camera. This one again is a Wet n Wild. This is the Becca. Okay. Now looking at it here, I can't tell the difference. On my skin, I did it on the hand that I have. The Becca is on this side and the Wet n Wild's on this side. And they both hold up extremely well. Obviously the Becca, of course. I was super surprised at the Wet n Wild because not only was it dewy, but it also didn't sit in my pores. So I will post a video of an actual review of the Wet n Wild primer on my channel so you guys can actually see it in action. But here I'm just telling you guys why I think it's a dupe. So looking at my hands, they look very similar. They feel very similar on the skin, on my hand, as well as my face. The smells, you guys, the smells are so close. But the smells of these in just the bottles, they smell so similar. I'm telling you, if you've been wanting to try the Becca Backlight Primer, I have 3 bottles of this, you guys, because I love it so much. But it's like $36 a bottle. And this one is $4.99. There's really, come on. I highly, highly say that this is definitely a high-end dupe. There's no doubt in my mind, this is probably one of the most similar products I've ever found. Definitely your most closest bet, your most closest comparison to the Becca Backlight, okay? So what it says on the back of this primer, it says, apply to clean skin, use alone or under foundation to achieve a luminous finish. Lightweight formula, infused with vitamin E, soothes skin for an even makeup application. A lot of those same claims are on the Becca Backlight Primer as well. So that is my comparison, you guys. I definitely think that the Wet n Wild Dewy Primer is a dupe for the Becca Backlight Primer. So I am telling you guys right now, is it a drugstore poop or a high-end dupe? Definitely a high-end dupe. That is all I have for this video, you guys. If you have not already hit that subscribe button, please do so before you go. I would really appreciate you becoming a part of the Edgy fam. Click that notification bell so you know when I upload my next video. And that is all I have. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, be good and be good to each other. I'll see you all soon. Bye.